Hey everyone! I am constantly being asked in my DMs and in my comment sections on how I got into modeling. So I thought I would tell you all the story on how I got into it and some advice on how to get into it as well. For those of you who don't know, I'm 18 and I've been modeling my entire life. I started modeling when I was 2 years old, so I've been doing it, oh my gosh, is that 16 years? Yeah, I've been doing it for a long time now. So like I said, since I started when I was 2, I was a baby model. Everyone would tell my parents, oh, she's such a cute baby, you should get her into baby modeling. And my parents didn't know too much about that and how to get started, but there was a baby modeling competition that my parents had seen a flyer for, and they thought oh, that's interesting, let's sign Ava up and see what that's about. I don't remember the story, but my parents told me the story. They took me to the building it was held, and it was a professional photo shoot type. I had the photo shoot, and then that was that. And then a few weeks later they had announced who won, and I was first runner-up, and because of that I got a meeting with an agency in town. After that meeting I got with that agency and they started submitting me for jobs. Obviously at that age it was all just baby modeling. It's for Target, Gap, a lot of those sports type too, playground, that's what I mean by sports. And I was modeling all the time pretty much. Target was definitely the company I would model for the most as a kid. Another thing people always ask me is how I model when I am short. If you can't tell my height, I'm pretty short to be a model, and obviously everyone always says, oh, models are tall. People see someone tall and tell them oh, you should be a model, which makes sense because most models are tall. But the modeling I do print, but I don't do runway. If you notice, pretty much all of them are tall. Of course there's some exceptions, but I don't do that type of modeling. I do print and commercial modeling and for products, and the type of modeling you see when you walk into a store. But yeah, runway is a whole different type of thing that I don't have training for. And I'm not tall, so but don't ever let someone tell you you can't be a model because you're too short, or don't. No. Some of my favorite companies I've modeled for would be Hollister, Forever 21, Shields, Best Buy, Target of course, and many more. For anyone who wants to get into modeling but doesn't know where to start, a huge piece of advice I have would be to, when you get your photos done, the photos that you'll take to submit to the agencies, make sure you find a good photographer in your area. That definitely helps. And also do your research on, when you're finding agencies that you want to be a part of, make sure you're doing your research, because there are a lot of agencies that aren't legit. There are a lot of good ones too, but there's also a lot that you have to be careful of. So make sure you do your research on the agencies and also on the photographers too. Any photographers that you work with, when you're just getting started and you're just trying to get pictures done, make sure you are careful with who you work with. My mom always comes with me to my shoots, especially if we're shooting with a new photographer. If we're shooting for a brand, and obviously that's different. I meant if we're shooting with just a photographer one-on-one, make sure you bring your parent, because there are some crazy stories I've heard out there of even people I know. So you definitely have to be careful. Anything just in the entertainment industry in general, you have to be so careful. I feel another misconception is people, like I said before, people always assume you have to be tall. People assume you have to have a certain look, when in reality modeling agencies, they love unique features. They love something that's different. There isn't one specific look. They love a variety of different features, of different body types. Like whenever I hear someone say like, oh, I'm not tall enough to be a model, I'm too this, I'm too that, I'm like, no you're not. No you're not. So it makes me sad when I hear people say stuff like that, because they're missing out on opportunities. If you have that mindset, you'll be missing out on so many opportunities and things. So don't ever let someone tell you, or don't let yourself tell you you're too short, you're too this, you're too that to do anything. Modeling is so much fun. I met some of my bestest friends through modeling, and I've had some of the coolest experiences. I just did this shoot a couple weeks ago that lasted a whole week. It was in a different state, and I met so many new cool people my age that have the same interests as me. That is a huge perk, meeting people that have the same interests, that you have the same things in common. Also, like when you're like shopping and when you walk into a store and like you're like looking around and then all of a sudden like you see yourself, you're like, oh, that's me. That's another really fun thing that really never gets old. For people who want to get into it, I would also recommend make sure you have a really strong headshot. I said this already, but when they're scrolling through the pictures of who they want to send a casting call out to, that's the first thing they'll see. So make sure you have a strong headshot. That definitely helps. Here is a collage of some of my favorite shoots I've done. Another piece of advice I would say is always be yourself, always be kind, always put good energy out there. When you're on set, when you're with all of these other people, be genuine, like be yourself. Don't try and be anything that you're not. People will remember like the good energy. People can see when someone is genuine, and they'll want to bring you back for more. Think about the photographers, the makeup artists, like all of the people that go into a set, they want to be around someone who's positive, who has good energy. And it makes everything so much more fun when everyone is so nice. So that's another piece of advice I have. And just life advice in general. Just be kind. Thank you all so much for watching. If anyone has any more questions, I'd be happy to answer them. Comment them down below. Bye!